Hi and hello, I am Athena Pondian here. Welcome to once again the Human Anatomy for the Biomedical Engineers classroom. In this video, we are going to see the next topic of our syllabus, that is tissue, and what are the different types of tissue and what is the main function of each and every tissue we are going to see in this classroom. Come, let's start the class. Tissue. We all know that the group of cell is nothing but the tissue. What is the need of arrangement of all these cells into a group? See, we are all human beings. We are all human beings. All in the world, there are so many human beings out there. Okay, so just see, for example, take an example of the teachers community. Teachers community people will do the teaching function. The postal community people will do the postal function, and the policemen, they do the special function called the protection. So all are human being, but each and every community people do some of the certain function. So that's what each and every part of our human body is made up of cell, but each and every cell they make into a group and do some of the special function. That is called as a tissue. So group of cells are making together to frame a tissue. The group of cell to do some of the special function, that is called a tissue. So that is what we need, a group of cell. Types of tissue. We have the different, that is a 4 different types of tissues in our human body. One is muscle tissue, epithelium tissue, connective tissue, and the nervous tissue. So this is the 4 different types of tissue. There is a 4 different community of the cell. It can frame it as a tissue to do some of the special function. And what is the function and what is the requirement of all these different types and everything? See. Muscle tissue is the first type of tissue. So this particular muscle tissue, the name itself shows that it is along with the muscles. What is the main function of the muscle? The main function of the muscle is contraction and relaxation. When whatever the movement you need to attain, they need the muscle support. Along with the skeletal body, you need to do some of the special function. That particular function is done by this particular muscles. So all this muscle is fully made up of cells, and the frame of cells that is framed as a muscle tissue, they do some of the reflex action function, that is a movement function. Okay, so this particular muscle tissue can be further classified into 3 different types. That is according to their function, okay, according to their muscle function. Even though the contraction relaxation function is there, each and every part of our human body do some of the different contraction relaxation function. Let's see. The first types of the muscle tissue is a smooth muscle tissue. The second is cardiac muscle tissue. The third is skeletal muscle tissue. Smooth muscle tissue is nothing but it is look like a fibrous in nature, and it is parallel in lines, and it is bundled in nature. So this particular mostly all the muscle tissue are bundled in nature, of course. Smooth muscles, where it is present, it is present in the inner wall of the stomach. Inner wall of the stomach is covered by this particular smooth muscle, and your intestine is covered by the smooth muscle, and your liver is covered by the smooth muscle, and your iris is covered by the smooth muscles. All these, what I am saying, all these kind of organ, that is stomach, it can able to do some of the contraction relaxation function, because once you are taking a consumer food, much amount of food, it will contract, it will relax, okay, it will expand. So like that. At the same time, take an example of your intestine, it will contract and relax, and take an example of your iris, it will contract and relax. All these kind of muscular movement can be done by this muscle tissue, that is smooth muscle tissue. This is the area that a smooth muscle tissue will present. Okay, then come to the cardiac muscle. The name itself shows that cardiac in the sense heart. The heart is fully made up of cardiac function. That particular cardiac muscle, it is also do the contraction relaxation function, but the layers is entirely different from the smooth muscles. The cardiac need to attain more pressure during the contraction, and during the relaxation, the different sort of pressure is arranged. So if there is a smooth tissue is there, then the contraction relaxation is not in a proper way, because along with the pressure it will work. So that need high toughest tissue, that is nothing but a cardiac tissue. The cardiac tissue can able to attain the pressure, it can able to accept the pressure what we done in the cardiac, during the cardiac response. Okay, so that particular cardiac tissue is fully bundled, and it is a fibrous in nature, and it is very clustered in nature, of course. So this is the second type. And come to the third different type of smooth muscle tissue is skeletal tissue. All the other tissue apart from this smooth muscle, apart from this cardiac muscle, all the other tissue, for example, the muscle tissue in the muscle tissue along with the femur, the muscle tissue in the thigh muscle, the muscle tissue in the ribs, the muscle tissue in the facial region, all these are along with the skeletal, it do some of the function. That is relaxation, that is contraction and relaxation function. That are all nothing but the skeletal muscle tissue. So this is the main type of the tissue, the first type of the tissue: smooth muscle tissue, cardiac muscle tissue, and the skeletal muscle. Then the next type of the tissue is nothing but epithelial tissue. Epithelium, epi is nothing but outer covering. So outer covering layer of the organs is made up of some of the cells and tissue, that is called as a epithelial tissue. According to the shape, according to the structure of that particular epithelium tissue, it can able to classify it into the three different types. The main different types, there are so many types of epithelial tissues are there, but the major different types is squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, and the columnar epithelium. That is, according to the structure, it will do some of the special function. So this particular epithelium, of course, the name itself, I already told you, epidermis. Epidermis, that is epi, means that outer covering. It will give a small protection function to the internal organ. Okay, then the first thing is squamous epithelium. The squamous epithelium is mostly present in the inner layer of your intestine. That is inner layer of your absorption function organ. That is nothing but your villi. Then your respiratory inner organ. That is especially pleura is made up of. Pleura is fully made up of this particular squamous epithelium, and your alveoli is fully made up of the squamous epithelium. These are all the things that can able to give some of the small sort of protection to the human organ. Then the next thing is, the next part of our epithelium tissue is nothing but the cuboidal epithelium. This cuboidal epithelium is mostly present in your excretory organ, that is kidney, then your internal, the outer layer of the nephron, that is glomerular, then all the other parts of the nephron is made up of this particular cuboidal epithelium. And then come to the columnar epithelium. Columnar epithelium is mostly present in your sexual organ, that is especially present in the fallopian tubule. It is especially present in the ovaries and the respiratory, that is some of the respiratory tract also is contain this columnar epithelium. This columnar, this cuboidal, and this squamous, how we can able to classify it? All are doing the epidermal function only, but how we can able to classify it is according to the shape. Cuboidal epithelium is nothing but it is in a cube in nature. Then columnar is nothing but it is like just arranged like a column. Then a squamous epithelium is nothing but it is an irregular arrangement of the cell. So according to the arrangement of the tissue, we can able to classify. But all are doing the same epidermal function, that is a small protective function. Okay, apart from that, they are not doing any contraction, relaxation function, are not doing. This particular tissue, especially doing some of the little protection to the internal organ. That next important tissue is a connective tissue. The name itself shows that connections. The connection between the two things. That is, it may be in between the tissue, or in between the organ, or in between the system. It made some of the connection. This is the particular function this particular connective tissue will do. So connective tissue is present in most of the cartilage bone. The cartilage bone example we can able to say as a pinna is an example of cartilage bone. We can able to say the nose is the example of the cartilage bone. Cartilage is nothing but the flexible bone. Wherever the flexible bone is that there, then this connective tissue is there in the flexible bones. Okay. Then some of the region of your adipose tissue is consist of this particular connective tissue, and some of the portion in the tendon. The tendon is also required. It needs some of the connection between it. Okay. So that for that kind of connection, this particular connective tissue is required. So this is not a bundle in nature. This is not a cluster in nature. This is a relaxed, and it is a lining, and the lining is maybe irregular. The main thing is it will make a connection between the two tissue or the two organ or the two system. Okay. This is the main function of connective tissue. Then the last type of the tissue is nothing but the nervous tissue. Of course, in nervous tissue we have the two different nervous systems are there, central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. In mostly the central nervous system do the extraordinary function because it will coordinate all the other function, because it includes brain and spinal cord. So all the actions, the reflex arc actions can be done by this particular central nervous system. They require some of the nerves to do function. That sort of nerves is given by this particular nervous tissue. So information sharing, the information that is a motor neuron is there, there is a sensory neuron is there, all the thing is done, all the thing is coming under with the help of this particular nervous tissue. Okay, so a cluster of tissues are there in the brain, all are considered as all are coming under this particular nervous tissue. So it will do so many functions, because we are all know that that particular central nervous system control all the other organ of the human body. So that much of importance we need to give. Apart from the other tissue, this particular nervous tissue do the extraordinary function. It will coordinating all the other function. It will give the information to all the other tissue to do some of the special function. For example, if it is for example, we can able to take as a smooth muscle. If the smooth muscle or cardiac muscle or the skeletal muscle need to do function, they require some of the information from the central nervous system. That can be able to done by the nervous tissue. And some of the epithelium tissue or some of the connective tissue, all are doing the function from the information it will get, that is from the nervous tissue. Okay. So that's all about the tissue types and the function. Actually, a tissue is a vast topic. That is one day is not enough to talk about that particular tissue. But as a biomedical engineer, you need to know some of the different kinds of tissues. That's all. That is the thing we discussed already. So this is the main thing you need to remember, that what is tissue and what is the requirement of the grouping of cell, and what is the types of tissues, and what are the different types of tissues that is present in a human body, and the tissues, what is the examples of the each and every tissue we discussed. So that's all about this class. In the next class, we'll do the next topic in our syllabus. Thank you.